I think by this point we all know that on-page SEO optimization can be really confusing because there's so much conflicting information online.
But it doesn't have to be that way. On-page optimization is actually not that complicated. It is necessary, but if you know the right steps, it's actually pretty easy. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to on-page SEO optimize your content to give you the best chances of ranking on Google.
In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know about on-page SEO optimization from start to finish. We're going to walk you through exactly what on-page SEO optimization is, why it's important, and best practices.
We're going to show you 3 real examples, 2 good ones and 1 bad one. That way you know the exact steps to take to optimize your content.
And we'll show you the truth about what results you can expect from on-page SEO optimization efforts. On-page SEO optimization, what is it? In the simplest sense, on-page optimization is when Google visits your site, does it understand what your site is about? Now we've included this funny picture of various forms of nuts, cashews, peanuts, almonds, whatever, and we did that on purpose. When you look at this picture, if we were to show this picture to 10 different people and ask them, what is this page or picture about, what do you think they'd say? Some would say nuts, some would say a variety of nuts, some would say pistachio, some would say almonds, etc. So when Google looks at your site, as smart as Google is, you have to remember it's computers, it's a bunch of algorithms, and it can't interpret things the same way a human being would. So on-page optimization is in giving Google the signals and indicators it needs in order to understand what your page is about. So instead of Google visiting this and thinking it's about all these different nuts, maybe we want to tell Google we're really just talking about the cashews on this page, and this particular image is just an example of where cashews fit into the nut family. So if this were your website, we'd actually be at a disadvantage as compared to a website that's purely about cashews, for example, because Google would look at our page, they'd look at the competitor's page about cashews, and if we were trying to rank for the keyword cashews, well, in Google's mind, if one page is only about cashews, but another page is about cashews and other nuts, it's much easier for Google to say, hey, this page is purely about cashews, it's super targeted, which is what we want here. We target around our keyword, and it's a much easier decision from Google's perspective to say, hey, we should rank the cashew page over the many nuts page because it's much more relevant to what the user wants.
So how does on-page SEO fit into our overall strategy? Remember, Google wants to provide searchers with the most relevant and valuable search results for the term at hand. Technical SEO enables Google to read and index your content. On-page SEO enables Google to determine what it's about and how relevant it is to the searcher. And off-page SEO enables Google to determine how high quality the content is. The way we implement an on-page SEO strategy is through optimizing our pages, including all of our pieces of content. Now let's dive into that in more detail.
So now that we understand where on-page SEO fits into the SEO and content marketing spectrum, we really need to level set with you for a second. On-page SEO, again, it tells Google what your page is about, but just because you've on-page SEO optimized your content does not guarantee you will rank by any means. The same way that you must have your site technically optimized so that Google can actually read the content, you must have your content on-page SEO optimized so that Google can properly interpret your content. But beyond that, it doesn't guarantee you anything. So we call this table stakes, kind of like in poker. You have to do the ante to get into the game. Well, you must be technically optimized and on-page SEO optimized in order to play the game. So how do you do that? Well, now we're going to walk you through the various on-page SEO elements. These are the elements within your content that you must have so that Google can properly interpret what your page is about. Having the keyword in the title, meta description, URL, and things like that. And we're going to walk you through each element with real-world examples that we think are good examples, and real-world examples that we think are bad. And we'll talk about how we can improve those.
Now this may all sound pretty technical and complicated, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Going back to the cashews example from before, if somebody's searching for cashews and you don't have the word cashews in these items such as your title and meta description, how would Google possibly know that they should provide your page over the other pages that do have cashews? So the first on-page SEO element that we want to take a look at is page title. Let's show you what this means in practice. Here's an example we're going to show you for a piece on e-commerce SEO. As you can see, we've searched e-commerce SEO on Google, and we want to analyze one of the results here. It's this blog post by Brian Dean. The first element to see here is e-commerce SEO right in the title. The second two items you can see right here in the search results are the URL and the meta description. Here you can see in the URL, the words e-commerce SEO is right there. It's also in the meta description, e-commerce SEO. Now let's dive into the blog post itself. As we pull it up, we can clearly see e-commerce SEO right in the header of the page. What does this actually look like on the back end in the code? Well, e-commerce SEO is an H1 tag. Note that the H1 tag is actually different than the title tag shown in the actual search results. Fortunately, we're going to show you a great tool that you can use to do all this pretty simply. Header tags have a simple hierarchy. H1 is the highest, H2 is the second, H3 is the third. And you can imagine how this looks on any given page when you see a title, subtitles, and even smaller subtitles within sometimes.
One thing to note here, when it comes to header tags, you typically want to include the exact match keyword. So in this case, e-commerce SEO. You want to have it in the header tag, so the top of the page like we have here. And then you also want to include it as best you can in one of the H2 tags. The important thing to remember here is header tags provide hierarchy and it makes for a better user experience. If you're like, I want to go to the third section, you know what the third section is about. And then it also tells Google, hey, this is more important than this. The next thing we need to talk about is keyword density. There's no right number of times you should include a keyword, but if you imagine we're writing a really comprehensive guide on e-commerce SEO, it just logically makes sense to humans and to Google that e-commerce SEO would naturally show up a number of times. So what I've done here, I'm just in the browser, I clicked Command F on my Mac, and I'm going to type in e-commerce SEO, and as you can tell, e-commerce SEO, as you can see, e-commerce SEO comes up 24 times within this document. And this may have been done on purpose. Brian Dean, the guy who wrote this, wasn't like, I'm going to include e-commerce SEO 24 times. But again, this is a really comprehensive guide on e-commerce SEO, so it would make sense that the keyword shows up a number of times naturally.
The next on-page element to look at is the use of multimedia and how they are tagged. So let's go back to our blog post. Now, as you can see, Backlinko is using a number of images that help provide a user experience, but also can indicate to Google the relevance of the page. So we would expect that somewhere throughout this page, one or more of these images would be labeled something like e-commerce SEO and related search terms. So let's show you how to figure out how these are tagged. You just right-click on the image itself and click on Inspect. And down here at the bottom of the page, you're going to see the alt, which in this case is Amazon Suggests. So that's what Brian Dean has labeled his image in this case. And what you'll often see is that images are labeled around various search terms related to the topic at hand, and one or two will be labeled exactly what the target keyword is. The reason why this is important is because, as you can imagine, Google can't actually read an image and understand what the image is about, but it can read text, as you know. So by labeling the file of the image, Google can get a better idea of what it's all about.
The last on-page SEO element that we have to really be cognizant of is internal and external links. If you don't already know, the internet is built on a system of links. So if I were to click this link and open it, it'll bring me to a new website. Maybe it's Wikipedia. In this case, it's nchannel.com. Where it takes me, it doesn't really matter. But links are extremely important for on-page optimization because it'll help improve the user experience. In this case, where Brian Dean is referencing a study on KISS metrics. So if I were to open this link, it'll bring me to that study. Sure, it takes me away from the page, but again, it improves the user experience. So by including a number of internal links to perhaps other blog posts that Brian Dean has published, one, he'll keep users on his site longer, he'll reduce his bounce rate, he'll increase his dwell time, all indicators Google really likes to see, but also it'll make for a better user experience and really just make the experience special.
Let's give you another example so you can see each factor in action. We just searched on Google for MCT oil. We're going to scroll down here to this page by bulletproofexec.com. As you can see, MCT oil is right in the title, MCT oil is in the URL, and MCT oil is in the meta description. Let's take a look at the page itself. Here again, H1 tags here, MCT oil. It's in the content itself, MCT oil. Let's give it a quick search. It's used 29 times, which is a lot, but makes sense. If you're writing a blog post about MCT, it makes sense that you would be using it in the text.
Beyond that, as you can see, there are various forms of multimedia. He's got images here. If we scroll down, I know that he's got a video embedded, as you can see right there. And if we were to click into one of these images, and again, the way we do that is we right click and we click inspect. We can make the assumption, because this guy Dave Asprey really knows what he's doing, he's probably correctly given the alt attribute something related to MCT oil. In this case, the article is about coconut oil and MCT oil, so this particular image has the alt tag of coconut oil, as you can see right here. But I can guarantee somewhere in this article is an image with the alt tag MCT oil. So Dave does a fantastic job here of hitting every single on-page SEO element. Beyond that, there's nothing he can do other than spend his time promoting this post and making sure it's just really high quality.
Now let's look at an example of a page that's not on-page optimized so you can really see what all this means in practice. We just searched how to read a book. This is a term that's searched 8,100 times per month. As we scroll over to page 2 for the page that we're going to analyze, let's look at this page and understand why they're not ranking on the front of page 1 despite having strong technical SEO and strong content. First off, we do not see how to read more books in the title. We do see how to read, which is a derivative of the term in the URL. However, we do not see the term in the meta description. Those are the 3 key elements we want to look for in the search results. Now let's pull up the piece of content. Now again, this is actually an outstanding piece of content, extremely valuable to the reader, and it actually is about reading more books, as you can see right here. However, they haven't on-page optimized the site, so Google doesn't actually know how relevant it is. Now hopefully that all didn't sound too overwhelming, but if it did, I've got some good news for you because we've got a tool for you that makes all of this pretty easy. The tool is called Yoast. It's an SEO plugin that is available completely for free that walks you through every single on-page SEO element that you need to be looking for. You can install it on any WordPress blog, and as you're creating a new post or a new page, you can scroll down here and edit every single on-page SEO element. You can change the title here, the slug, the URL slug, and the meta description. And the great part is down here, it marks you on every single on-page SEO element you need to be looking for. If you have something wrong, it's going to let you know that you're wrong and that you need to fix it. So this is literally a step-by-step tutorial on everything you need to do for on-page SEO optimization. We know from previous research that Buffer actually has a lot of backlinks. They've done a strong job of off-page SEO, which is probably why they're ranking as high as they are. But given they already have all those backlinks, and given they have such great content, with some simple on-page optimizations, they could be easily ranking on the front page for this high-volume search term.
In closing, we want to remind you that great content like you're looking at right now, and this is very much great content, without it being on-page SEO optimized, is leaving a lot of traffic and visitors on the table. It's just not reaching its full potential. So again, on-page optimization is necessary to play the game, but it alone will not get you visitors and traffic.
Thanks for watching the video. Please click the like button below if you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel for the latest how-tos and teardowns, and leave a comment to let us know what you'd like to learn next and how you plan to apply this to your business. We'll reply to every comment.